Can your incident response technology collect from off-network endpoints? Xterra FTK Enterprise can. Endpoints are no longer located in a physical office, and organizations need a comprehensive investigation tool that enables holistic data collection and review. With FTK Enterprise, you can also scan for IOCs and MISP indicators. You can scan with Yara rules, and you can use integrations to trigger automatic endpoint collections. Visit securityweekly.com/Xterra for access to their white paper, Incident Response for a Remote World.
Attackers are only getting more proficient, so how can you proactively adapt your cybersecurity strategy? Core Security by Help Systems helps you uncover and prioritize the risks that pose the biggest threat to your organization. Core Impact is a penetration testing tool that safely finds and exploits vulnerabilities using the same techniques as attackers. You can conduct advanced pen tests with ease using certified exploits and automations. Take your engagements to the next level by pairing with Cobalt Strike, a threat emulation tool ideal for adversary simulations and red team operations. Learn more at securityweekly.com/core security. Endpoint security is designed to protect every device in your fleet, wherever it may be. These days, that can be a lot of different places. Find out how HP Wolf Security uses emerging strategies like application isolation, along with a zero-trust approach and framework to give you a powerful, manageable, usable solution to your growing and increasingly spread-out security challenges. Learn how HP Wolf Security can make a difference across your endpoints at securityweekly.com/HP Wolf.
Welcome back to Enterprise Security Weekly. If you still haven't bought a pass for RSA, we can still save you $100 on that pass. So you can save $100 on a full conference pass with the discount code 52UCyber. And you can register now. You can go to securityweekly.com/RSAC 2022. That is a couple weeks from now. Hard to believe it's finally going to be here. The last conference I went to was RSA Conference 2020. So this will be the first time I'm on a plane since that conference. So I'm kind of excited about it. We hope to see you there. The Security Weekly crew will be broadcasting from RSA. And I think we're all looking forward to it. Also, do you have a specific guest or topic that you want us to cover in one of the shows? Submit your suggestions for guests by visiting securityweekly.com/guests and completing the form. We review suggestions monthly and we'll reach out to you once reviewed. All right, and now let's get to the Security Weekly news. You can go to securityweekly.com/ESW 274 if you want to follow along as we go through the news articles. I typically have some thoughts shared there on each of the items. I don't have as much this week as I normally have, but it's kind of hard not to cover the big downturn that we're seeing in almost everything. Funding, the public markets, crypto. Everything seems like it's down, and the amount that it's down varies, but it's quite a bit in a lot of places here. And there's this interesting tweet. Let's see, is that the right tweet? That is not the tweet I intended to put there, but basically somebody said, in general, if you're a startup, if you're looking to with valuations being down, they're saying it's something like 70%, on average that they're seeing. And your forward-looking 12-month revenue, if you want to be, or if you are valued or want to be valued as a unicorn at $1 billion, is about 174 million, I think. 178. There you go. Did I have that in the news items? Where were you grabbing that from?
I remember reading it from somewhere. I don't even remember. But the valuation. I mean, we should have known this. Like, the valuations were getting out of control. The economy was already starting with some recession signs, and the Fed getting ready to change things. Housing market, like all of these things point to some of this. So this should be expected. It is just how you combat that as a forward-thinking company that has something unique to offer. You have to, bring forth realistic expectations probably more so now than before, where we were seeing quite a few of the unicorns and a lot of things that were just way blown out of proportion.
Yeah, and we've been saying it for, all the episodes. I feel like in the entire last year, we've been saying, yeah, how is this company worth this much? Like how are these valuations, and some of these funding rounds not just completely insane? And you don't know private revenue numbers unless the company decides to share it. And usually early stage, they're not going to share it, but we do hear rumors, and in many cases, that revenue, those revenue numbers are orders of magnitude off what analysts are saying that they should be now. And that $178 million on a $1 billion valuation, forward-looking revenue on a $1 billion valuation, that comes from looking at the current median cloud software multiple. So for public companies, and just using that as kind of a back of the napkin type of calculation, which is 5.6 times forward revenue. So
it's still over a 5x.
Yeah, but I mean, big change from like the 100, 200x, that we're seeing with some of these valuations, like 5-10 million ARR, and they're a unicorn. Like, that's nuts. And now the market seems to agree with us. Yeah, that was nuts, and that wasn't realistic. So I did some math, and we have 54 unicorns, cybersecurity unicorns, right now. And if we calculated a 70% drop for them, we'd be left with only 4 if we adjusted based on that multiple we were just talking about.
What are those 4? Do you remember?
Tanium, Sneak, Lacework, and Netscope.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. I think it's going to be this way for a little while. And again, I don't think this should hamper anybody's ingenuity and desire to become one of the great startups and try and raise funding. I think it just brings people back down to earth and the realistic realization of what valuation should be. And honestly, what the company is going to produce is going to be better because you're not having those unrealistic expectations from boards and investors that want to start seeing those 10x returns within that 12 months. So not all around a bad thing.
And all the advice I'm seeing is basically, if you've got a solid business, you're going to be fine. You might not be able to buy that Lambo this year. You might not raise as much as you wanted to, but you should be able to raise. If you don't have a solid business, if you're not already, if you don't have significant traction and revenue and bookings, maybe not. Maybe you're not going to raise that round at all. And again, like everything I've been seeing has been general, like focused on the market as a whole. And we've actually seen a lot of layoffs and stuff like that. But I haven't seen much of anything really touch the security space. And I brought this up when we had Will Lin, who's one of the founders of Forge. I'm going to say the wrong Forge. I want to say Forge Point, Forge Rock, Forge
Mountain.
Come on, brain. I'm doing a quick search. This is painful. Forge Point Capital. Yeah, sorry, my brain still is not recovered from B-Sides Knoxville. I've had a bunch of other stuff going on since B-Sides Knoxville, so I haven't had a solid night's sleep since putting on that conference. But yeah, Forge Point. So we had him on, and one of the big questions for him is like, is security special? Because we don't seem to see as many failures with security companies. And his answer was kind of like, yeah, the failures are there. They're just not as visible because the general media just doesn't focus as much on security, doesn't understand it as well, so it's not covered as heavily. So, we don't see some of those failures. So yeah, we might see some down rounds here. We might see some companies struggle to raise funding at all. And it'll be interesting to see how quick it recovers, if it recovers. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a recovery, but there's still pretty heavy demand for security companies. But yeah, maybe a company that really needs an acquisition exit, they're not able to get that, and they've got to stretch things out. But yeah, there was I forget the name of the person. I think it was one of the journalists at TechCrunch coined the term cockroaches, and was talking about cybersecurity companies. These companies that instead of dying, like they have this ability to lean more in services or pivot really quickly. So maybe that's one of security companies' secrets of surviving economic downturns is the fact that just the nature of our companies, we can pivot pretty quickly and we can adapt, which you kind of have to in security. Everything's changing so quickly.
There's also the fact that technology is synonymous to the vertical. So regardless of, a downturn, security still has to play into that. Technology still has to play into that. And we support all of the other verticals. So yeah, we will see the downturn, but you also cannot remove the reliance that is required for business to actually operate in today's economy without technology. And that kind of follows the security mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there's this concept of with startups, that Paul Graham came up with a number of years ago, which I just shared in the Discord, called default alive or default dead, and basically, like if you, if you weren't able to raise that next round, would you be able to survive? Is kind of the crux of this idea, and yeah. So a lot of these companies are built, where that's not going to happen. Where they are depending on raising that next round, and they are encouraged to burn heavily. To grow fast and burn through the funding that they raised very quickly. And it's everything I've been hearing, from everything I've been listening to is that's going to have to change for a bit. We're going to have to shift to more of a conservative mindset in terms of how fast we're hiring, how fast we're burning through cash. We being startups, I guess. I work at a startup, so it somewhat applies to us as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you look at my trends, stories numbers 7 through 11, all of those except one is basically on this. So we're not going to cover them all individually. The first one there, the 2022 SaaS crash. It's a long read, but it's a very good read. And then just the title of number 11 kind of summarizes everything we're talking about. Tourist investors, so like Tiber Global, for example, haven't fled VC, but there are signs of a tactical retreat. And then I'm glad we've got you, Tyler, because I don't know if you got a chance to watch the video for number 10. Number 10 is actually a YouTube video from a buddy of mine, Javad Malik, about crypto muggings. And I give you the TLDR of it is in the UK, a bunch of people have been essentially getting mugged out of their crypto, where they're forced to unlock their phone and transfer all their Bitcoin or whatever crypto they have. Typically, and we've seen this happen with hardware wallets, but in each of these cases, I think they were like Crypto.com, Coinbase, hot wallets, online wallets.
It does not surprise me that it has come to this point. Like, eventually, black bagging has to be a threat profile that people have to realize because of all the data we keep on our smartphones. Typically, that's reserved for third world countries that are a little more shady or seedy or in a conflict zone. But we've seen a huge uptick in just crypto theft. Like I'm working in a couple of cases right now where impersonation on Discord servers of support or users, where they're getting links to resync or put in a seed to confirm an NFT transfer, things like that. And they're using smart contracts and flash bots to drain all of these wallets very, very quickly. So the fact that they've added some physical to this, like, kind of surprising it's in London and the UK to start with, but I would imagine from a threat profile, this is something you should consider, and a great reason cold wallets and diversifying your portfolio of where you store your crypto on exchange, off exchange, non-custodial, custodial, and hardware and software wallets is all important.
It's a big wake-up call. I mean, how much cash have you ever carried on your person? Like, what's the most you've ever carried? I mean, you don't have to answer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, personally, for me, I remember it was actually, I think the most I've ever carried was when I was a teenager. I was buying an upright base, and I was buying it in cash, and I think that was $1,500. So I had $1,500 in cash on me.
Mm-hmm.
Lee?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to carry more than 10,000 because you can't cross borders, and you will have some issues with declaration and knowing where all that comes from, and the possibility of getting mugged. But there are reasons you don't carry that much cash. There's reasons banks came into existence. But I think even with apps outside of crypto, you think about something like a Venmo or a Cash App that's tied to your bank account. The same threat scenario can be applied, and I am surprised we've not seen more of that, where they just have the QR code, like scan my QR code, transfer this much money. But there's
recourse, right?
Break your nose.
Like that's the difference, though, right? There's some kind of legal recourse there. And I think this is kind of the point they're making: is there's less recourse with crypto, whereas with I don't know if it's a bank. So it's an interesting question. Like, how easy is it after you get mugged? If it's an actual bank transaction to go to the police, get that back, versus crypto.
I would say probably it has to be pretty close to the same. Like, obviously, you have things like NCIC or NFCI, the banks backing that for fraud, but I don't think physical muggings actually fall into that. Just as you losing cash in your pocket, crypto is going to kind of probably apply to the same thing. You can file the same police report with the same monetary loss between the two, and you'll probably get the same response from the bank as you would a crypto exchange. You should not have given that up, or sorry, you shouldn't have been in that neighborhood. But there's no backing or guarantee for that because it's not fraud. It is outright theft, and it's not theft through something like a credit card where Visa or MasterCard is backing those transactions of that theft. The theft is happening on a physical, so that falls into the local jurisdiction of your law enforcement and outside of the capabilities of your credit card company.
Yeah. Well, then there's also the ATM use case has some recourse too. If your card skimmed, the bank is insured for that, and I think I'm pretty sure there's also some recourse with the forcible withdrawal. But off your person, no. By the way, I don't think I've carried more than about 10,000 in cash at the most. It feels kind of creepy to carry that much cash.
So I only remember one amount from the video, and it was 24,000 pounds that I had stolen. I think the other two examples were more than that. Or more money than that.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, the crypto, you start to think about some of the crypto investing, like a lot of the people that I'm working with are leveraging loans against the crypto. And there's entire lending setups to borrow against the crypto or borrow on stake or on smart contract in order to get the crypto at a good price if you don't have the cash set right then. And so these people are ended up, paying back $100,000, $200,000 in crypto loans because they're getting transferred out of these wallets. And once it's transferred, it's very, very difficult to get back. Like, we can track and trace that. Blockchains are not anonymous, but getting the recourse and recovering those assets, you rely on people that do a little bit more shady activities in order to try to do that. And it is along the similar lines of getting it back. It's not that easy.
Yeah. Gotta go mug them back.
Yep.
Go get your boys. Go round up your boys. Go
posse roundup.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's a crazy world. And it's and they stole all that, and depending on what crypto it is, it's not 24,000 pounds anymore. Not right now. Yeah, so let's see, what else do we have here? So speaking of personal security, one of the items here, Sunday Security, aims to protect the world's executive teams. So kind of like outside enterprise security, this is an interesting niche, I think. So like enterprise protection has certainly been a thing for a long time in terms of like bodyguards, like personal physical security. And I've heard of firms that are more like consultancies that will do like cybersecurity consulting for celebrities and stuff like that, and executives and stuff like that. But this is this looks to be a software product.
It's interesting. It's a software product. Like, I mean, you're spot on. That's one of the services that I offered early on was executive protection, executive cyber action, asset recovery, evaluating houses, looking at your threat profiles, evaluating your cell phones, your kids' network use and traffic, your threat profile from family members and social media, like all those things executives really do have to start to care about. When you start to get a decent amount of net worth, you have to consider what you can be leveraged for and your risk profile to the company based on not only you, but your family and your home network. You think about work from home and your capability to sign checks and get funding based on your network that your corporation laptop sits on that also has a horrible school computer that your kids are using down the road and your wife's iPad that's browsing recipes and Pinterest. Like, it's a hostile network, and executives often don't think about their home as that hostile network. So it's interesting they built a product around it, but it's out of Tel Aviv, so I can imagine it's all right.
Ask me if it involves machine learning.
100% it better.
Of course it does. Yes. Powered by advanced security intelligence and algorithms, Sunday uses machine learning to map both safe and dangerous activity and create models to identify and stop suspicious activity.
Is it because Monday got such a huge adoption and corporations were comfortable with Monday.com, so now they needed a Sunday? Like, such a strange name for this.
Yeah, there's only 5 more days left. So hurry up.
I'm gonna have to go for Friday. I got to get that Friday.
Can you get Tuesday? Will Tuesday morning sue you?
Yeah.
Is that too close?
It's a little impersonal.
Oh, I got to tell you, when I read executive team perfection, I still think of lightly armored vehicles and humans that are well armored and armed more than I do IT.
Nothing to say that you can't have that service as part of your digital strategy. I mean, you think about some of the places you travel with the information you may have to travel with in order to do that. Like, that would be something that I would actually roll into my cyber risk profile and service for those executives, because if you don't understand the technology, you don't really know how to protect it, and you don't know where the critical pieces lie. Like, this jump drive and this seed password and 2FA FIDO key needs to be kept on my person that carries the gun, and the laptop that doesn't do anything and go anywhere, like, that's there for traveling overseas. And if we get coerced, like, I'll be the last one to stand out. So I could see that tying into that a little bit more, but it is interesting. It is a software product.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it looks like a managed thing as well. So it sounds like they integrate with your email and stuff like that. So there is a software component, and then they've got. So it almost sounds like kind of like a personal XDR. The way it's described. Yeah. Like there's
monitoring
a managed
and visibility for your family and executives.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I noticed that they talk about profiling your family and their use. I hope they also profile the security at your business as well. But definitely, this seems kind of cool.
Yeah. Agreed. It does seem kind of cool. Interested to see more information. Very early, I think this was a seed round. It was a $4 million seed round. So already a pretty slick website, a lot of good details, but yeah, I'll be interested to learn more about this. Maybe I will in RSA. I need to start putting together a list of the vendors I'm going to go check out at RSA. It's been so long since I've been able to do that.
I know.
Hear how bad the pitches are at the booths?
It's a threat vector that has to be considered. I mean, you think about something like sextortation. of an executive's, daughter or kid or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of things can happen to a corporation's data and the risk profile from something like that. So it's a cool niche.
Yeah. All right, a few others here. Stackhawk raises a 20.7 million Series B, and this is application security automation product. So been seeing a lot of these, kind of reinventing DAST, seen some new approaches at DAST, and it looks like they do API security testing as well, which is kind of been a theme. Another one of the fundraisers here, Balkan ID. That's not the. I think there's another API security one here, but since I mentioned, I'll go ahead and talk about Balkan ID. That one is more around identity governance. I think I wrote up a short blurb here. Yeah, it uses AI to identify risky entitlements and simplify access review, which I think can be very difficult, especially if we're talking about like AWS, access review, permission, stuff like that, gets very difficult to parse at scale.
It is very, very difficult to do at scale, especially for large organizations. I mean, the API thing is a huge play because there's so many APIs exposed right now, and web testing in general is hard because of all of the endpoints and all the input and all the dynamic code and languages now. But then you start talking about API, it's an entirely different beast that has to be automated in order to be done well. So I'm not surprised to see a bunch more automation around this, and it is a good thing from a security standpoint. The AWS is a big piece. We've been doing, Trimark's been doing the Azure AD space for quite a while, and the amount of changes that happen on a weekly basis just to Azure AD and what they call things, not to mention the security settings, how it's configured, and then the evaluation of the correlation of all those things. Like, it's a nightmare. So there is no easy way to do that at scale and do it well unless you've spent a ton of time doing it. So I'm not surprised to see a lot of places getting money for this.
Yeah. Pangea is also interesting. So Pangea Cyber raised a $25 million Series A. If you go to their website, they have a very cute animation that, well, I say cute, but visuals like this can be very powerful for getting across your value prop. And in just a simple animation, you can glance at it, you can see what it's doing, and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. They're making basically a bunch of API-based libraries, that make it very easy to implement enterprise security features into an application. So looks like kind of a like maybe they're trying to become kind of a like for startups especially, like they're not going to engage with 15 different companies to do a lot of this stuff. Like security just gets left out until they grow bigger in a lot of cases, or like we'll take care of that once we grow to this level, or one of our customers makes us do it. And in this case,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pay one company, and you can do IP reputation lookups. You can do file reputation lookups, object scans, geolocation, securely handle files, handle. I don't think they're doing credentials. That's one that they, I think it would be interesting to put in there some kind of a like a secure enclave for handling credentials. Also, that's a common one that folks need when building applications. Yeah, neat one. I guess it makes sense calling it Pangea because all the continents come together. It's the supercontinent.
So clever.
I like it when I can. So it doesn't have cyber. Well, okay, it is Pangea Cyber, but like it's not Pangea or something like that. It's not Fire Pangea. Like, it's a clever name. The name means something. Like this is a rare thing for a security company to have. A name that both.
It's Pangea Cloud, not even cyber.
Oh, I thought I saw somewhere where it's. Yeah, Pangea Cyber Corporation is the full name of the company.
Oh, okay. I mean,
it's Pangea.cloud, but still, yeah, it's rare that a cybersecurity brand makes me happy and doesn't make me cringe. So I'm celebrating that. All right. I think we're going to move on to some of the squirrel stories here. The first of which, number 13, I thought you both would get a kick out of.
Is that the NPM one?
Yes, it is the NPM one, where one company's research team locates something that another company's red team is doing and publishes research based on it. It tickled me to death. I thought it was so funny.
It was kind of funny. It was kind of a big FU finger, but hopefully the op was over. Otherwise, that would have sucked from the red team. Like, they're doing some cool stuff.
And they all this unfolded on Twitter too, I believe.
Oh, it did?
Where I at least that's where I saw it, where Sneak had published, we're doing some research. We caught some shady stuff going on NPM with NPM packages. And then this other company pops up, Code White pops up and says, actually, that was our intern. So not even kind of shaming their research, but saying it was their intern that did it. Our intern put some intentionally shady looking packages up there, for you to put together fancy research.
Way to throw the intern under the damn bus.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh
my goodness.
I'd do the same thing.
Throwing the intern under the bus.
I don't think they were throwing the intern under the bus. I think they were saying at least the feel I was getting is Sneak should have done more due diligence, to verify that this was an actual attack and not like a security research or something like that. It's kind of like somebody going out to Shodan and saying, 30,000 systems are vulnerable, without taking into account that maybe 29,999 of those are honeypots run by other security companies.
That is funny. No, there's a long post. There's a lot of. They did some cool stuff in here, though. It's better than the NPM package of.
Not to take away too much.
Last night about someone maliciously putting it up there to prove a point.
Yeah. So it's not to take away from the research. NPM issues are real. There have been a lot of malicious stuff. Some of it intentionally malicious. Some of it more of a developer temper tantrum variety.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're either trying to make a point or something like that. But yeah, no, it is important research. But it was just funny that one security company.
It's
doing research.
Bloody hilarious.
Yeah.
But I could definitely totally see a security company given an intern or another employee a task of creating the NPM vulnerable packages to see if somebody else could detect it, and segmenting the two activities so that they don't know, so it's more real. I wouldn't throw the intern or whoever did it under the bus. I would have described it as we were attempting a security something training exercise. But most definitely, it's kind of cool and clever what they did. But it's like, don't throw the guy under the bus. We need this kind of exercise.
Yeah. Just I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking what your 666 encryption was. I clicked it.
I don't know that I even wanted to. I've debated even going over this, but basically, so the TLDR on this is it looks like one guy that might not be entirely stable edited Crunchbase, because Crunchbase is like Wikipedia. Anybody can edit it. So he put his own company in there and said that he raised an undisclosed Series A. It wasn't seed. I think it was a Series A with a $1 trillion valuation. I'll just pause there for that to be absorbed.
Those numbers match well.
For an encryption algorithm that he came up with. And Like the code's on GitHub. It hasn't been updated in something like 27 months, really long time. And I haven't heard back. I did post it on Twitter at one point, said, hey, anybody who knows anything about actual encryption algorithms, could you take a look at this? And it's one of those things where I'm not even sure it's worth an expert's time to look at it, because just reading some of this guy's posts just makes me kind of question the validity of any of it. Like there's no corroborating information. No investor has said it has been tied to this investment that he's claiming, but because it was on Crunchbase, at least 2, if not 3 of the funding newsletters that I go through to put together news for this show reported it, just because it showed up on their searches, on their list. So I wonder how far you can fake it till you make it with this kind of thing, where I wonder if this guy's having actual conversations with VCs just because he threw that into Crunchbase.
Oh,
I did some evaluation on some custom private crypto, and it's amazing how far it actually got between multiple vendors, multiple cryptologists actually looking at it, and then seeing how it was done. Like, it was never going to get anywhere other than maybe a library that got sold without some serious work and polishing. So, like, yeah, I don't see crypto, especially with good free crypto algorithms out there. Like, I don't see these type of things unless they're integrated into a product and sold very, very polished and very heavily tested. And that even takes, sometimes decades for good crypto. So, yeah, this is just stupid.
And there are well-funded and appear to be making revenue quantum encryption vendors out there that I also think are kind of equally stupid. BS from the standpoint of like is this a thing that anybody even needs? Like they're building this post encryption or post crypto assuming quantum computers will be able to break existing.
Again, like, unless it's integrated into a product, like and or being sold as a library that is well adopted and thoroughly tested, like, how do you sell or license crypto? Like, once you give the algorithm away and you license that, like, it is so the quantum stuff process.
Some of them are actual. So some of the companies out there, they're actually using it as a source of entropy, and it's an actual appliance that you rack and like has an API where you pull that your source of entropy is this appliance, which has some kind of
grabbing some like astro different eco and atmosphere data points to roll into its own algorithm to then push up an API. Like, sounds like a denial of service opportunity that could go really wrong for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So until there's a general purpose crypto computer that can actually, that somebody ports John the Ripper to, or some kind of brute force tool. Yeah, I'm not sure we need to worry about this kind of stuff, or that we need, like, I think there's a formal effort going on for quantum resistant cryptography, but this guy's not it. This is not it.
I love it.
Right.
All right, so that's all I've got today.
Okay.
Thanks so much for joining today. We had some great interviews. Really thankful you both could make it, because you guys had some great questions and some good thoughts to share. So much appreciated, Lee and Tyler.
Anytime, man.
It's our honor.
And a big thanks to everyone watching or listening to this week's episode of Enterprise Security Weekly. We will be back next week.